Shotgun to shotgun.
So, Black Power, Black Power, Black Power. What I'm going to be discussing is my framework and plan for what is now currently just a national framework for Black empowerment, but I will be upgrading it to a worldwide framework for Black empowerment. I'm not going to step on anybody's toes and stuff like that. I'll just say there's been many ideas that's been promoted, and each generation, I feel like the idea for Black plans get better and better. And of course, with this being a 100-year celebration of not the first Black plan, but of a movement to really galvanize the world of Black people to upgrade and empower ourselves to a different level. I personally feel that I'm in a unique position because of my age and the different lifestyles I guess I'm in, or businesses that I'm involved in, and it gives me a great platform to be able to like kind of not I don't want to say remix or regurgitate or rephrase or reword some of the plans that have been created or even add to, you know. And so first and foremost, I like to, before I even show the plan, I like to put up show some just basic stuff. And this one document I want to show, typically, unfortunately, because most people don't know about this document. And so 100 years ago, you know, while Garvey was in the midst of planning and almost coming to the country and developing what would be the UNIA and pushing the movement to create, of course, the RBG flag and get us to where we are here, our enemy was, you know, working the same way. And of course, we know many things they were working on. But this one document in particular, I like to highlight because it was funded by the Carnegie Institute, and they spent about $300,000 at the time on the research to get this document done. And when we talk about code switching in our community, code switching largely started with white folks, in my opinion, when they wanted to reword racism and reword slavery and reword the context in which they saw Black people in a way that was more befitting to, I guess, their newfound morals. And eugenics was the platform to which a lot of that was birthed. And this one particular document is actually a research on an effective way of removing the defective germplasm. And it's crazy how they word it. I'll bring up a different one for it. But on how to, and that's how they view Black people, a defective germplasm. You know, American Breeders Association. Just as a footnote, these are the same organizations and committees that led to the development of Nazi Germany and some of the ideals that was promoted in Nazi Germany, for those who don't know. And what I want to go straight to is their plan on how to effectively remove and control our population, our people. This document is in 1914. Marcus Garvey had no knowledge of this document. Life segregation, sterilization, restrictive marriage laws and customs, eugenic education and of the public and of prospective marriages and mates, systems of mating promoting to remove defective traits, general environmental betterment, polygamy, euthanasia, neo-mutation, mutation, I'm not saying I'm not destroyed that word, doctrine, artificial interference to prevent conception, laissez-faire. Now, I usually go down and break down what some of these means, but you can take your time to do that. But remember that these are all put into a context of maintaining a population. So when they say life segregation, they mean, for example, keeping a certain people in a certain area and away from other people. And if you look at modern times in New York City is one of the most segregated cities to date. When we talk about sterilization, sterilization was forced back then, and now it's something that's accepted. You know, we're like, we want to sterilize ourselves. We want to take on as much things as possible so as not to have babies. That's the culture. Don't have babies. Restrictive marriage laws and customs. We all know about the effects of just simple policies. Let's give single women more money for their children. You know, so I don't want you to look at this in just a linear fashion. Look at these as the overall goal and underlining concept, and then underneath it is a whole myriad of different ways in which they go about doing these things. System of mating promoting to remove defective traits. Defective traits in the eye of white people is black skin, big lips. You see what I mean? Strong, kinky hair, ADHD, when they see our kids they think our children are super energized. General environmental betterment. That doesn't mean making our community better. That means controlling the general environmental betterment. So when we add on the concepts of laissez-faire mentality, when we start to take on that, the betterment of our community is up to white people. It's white people's job to fix up our community. So these is what they wanted to impregnate into the minds of black people in America in 1914 to create the issues we have now. Polygamy. They're not talking about African polygamy. They're talking about raw, just fuck up the family, excuse my language. You got different baby mothers all over the place. Y'all ain't working together all over the place. Break up the home. Euthanasia. The acceptance of killing your own. What they call mercy killings. And so when the Germans was putting to sleep and putting the Jews on their trains, their death trains, they called that an euthanastic action. They were like, look, we could have just shot them all and cut their heads off. We put them to sleep. In their mind, look, the Jews gotta go. So either we can cut your heads off, we can put you to sleep. And so for them in America, they're like, look, we can't have niggas growing that much. So we got to find a way to kill y'all off. And so the leading cause of death, when everybody's arguing about COVID, for us is still abortions. And so, and we accept that. And we even allow them to reword that as abortions to us, murder. I always kill this word, Malthusian on doctrine, artificial intelligence, and interference to prevent conception, right? Now, that mixing with everything mixed with laissez-faire mentality is pretty much having the government take on what it's supposed to do for you. Letting them do it. I don't got nothing to do with me. So when you hear that bougie mentality, or let the bourgeois, and you hear the bougie blacks, oh, that's them Negroes over there. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm good. That ain't bothering, as long as it don't bother me over here. And so there's a bunch of other stuff we can add on. For me, when I found this document, what stood out so much was the fact that this was one of the early precursors to further documents that was funded by the Carnegies, by the Rockefellers, by the US Navy, and applied eugenics. And when we consider the acts of Garvey, you know, I've been speaking recently about accountability heavy and white accountability. You know, when we add up all of the failures of our people, all of the coons, all of the sellouts, all of the weak-minded people, it still doesn't add up to enough to create the situation we're in. The part of the equation that we have to always remember is the white man. They are purposely seeking to maintain control of and maintain their position on this planet. And this document is an example of that. At this time, Marcus Garvey was creating the UNIA for the purposes of empowering Black people. It was impossible for him to compete with the Carnegie Institute, who had a $300,000 budget for this research, just for this. If you look up Harbor Bay in Long Island, Harbor Bay was founded by the Carnegie Institute. You can look up a lot of the things that the Carnegie Institute funded. When we look up, and the reason I'm bringing it, when we look up who funded the public school system, J.D. Rockefeller is who brought the public school system to where it is. And I bring it up to say, it takes investment into what you believe. So I don't see white people attacking Black people. I see them investing in their belief that they need to be in power. I see them investing into what they need. And so when I talk to people about individuality, I don't believe in individuality. I believe in interconnectivity. And we're all connected no matter what. My past, my history, all of us are connected. And by physics, it's proven. And so when we look at all the pieces of the puzzle and our contribution to the further aspects of the puzzle, it builds a level of responsibility that we have to have. And for many of us who don't have it in our community, that take on a laissez-faire mentality, is for us to understand, and especially in this circle, that their mindsets were largely created by people who funded the research on how to create that type of mindset. We're not playing chess with somebody who's just playing chess. They're watching how our eyes blink when we make a move. They're watching the people whose eyes blink that watching us, how their eyes blink. And so we have to be on that same level. And I feel honored to be amongst the people that's actually taking that leap into today's generation to say we're actually actively catching up. Like, Garvey didn't have the opportunity of Google and having sloppy white people the way they are now. You know, he didn't have the resources we have now, where people are connected all over the place. You know, we have technology. We have people have more liquid assets and physical assets and more intellectual capabilities now in our community in certain ways. And in many ways we don't. You know, let's not forget he got 20,000 Black people from around the world to come together in Madison Square Garden. Almost never been repeated. And so we have to take all of that in consideration and say, some things we are doing better and some things we're not doing at all. And that's what brings me to, you know, what inspired me to create this framework was watching some of my elder brothers in the community, not elder, but some of the brothers who were, you know, amongst those who are beefing. And I've been in the ranks of those who are beefing with people. And I'm publicly going back on that. I'm moving away from that. And because I realized that, you know, the enemy is so important and everything aside the enemy is not. I don't care what Tariq Nasheed is doing. I don't care what Umar Johnson is doing. I don't care what Tommy Sotomayor is doing. I don't care what Kanye is doing. I don't have the time to criticize him. If I can take a breath to critique Kanye, I should be taking that breath to critique these crackers. I could take that breath to build up one of my brothers. Like, the amount of thought they put into being where they are, we don't have any time to move any way different.
Facts.
You know, and so in our institute, we have a class called Black Political Thought that's part of our social studies curriculum. And so I'm sure many of you have ran into the people that are like, why you always bring up the history of that? Why you always got to go back in the past? Most people who say that have never been in a college level class and with the political thought. Political theory is centered around understanding how policies, legislation, laws, and social norms came to be. Simple as that. And so when we teach Black political theory, it's understanding how the Black philosophies, political views, the laws, the injustices, rights, issues, governance, ordinances, all of that affect and came to be for Black people. So in order to understand this, it automatically is centered around who, when, where, and how, and why. And it allows children and also adults to really embrace that type of conversation. And with that conversation brings about immediate accountability. And for me, I want to promote that you know, and I'll just tangent a little bit because I find that in our community, we're so easy, especially the I'm going to be 39 this Saturday, this Friday coming up. I'm really excited. And I find like the generation above me is kind of hard on us, and they're not hard enough on white folks. And I can go through so many circles and I'll hear people say the problem with black people, the problem with black people. I'm like, bro, if you keep saying the problem with black people, that statement itself is going to get programmed in somebody's head that black people always have a problem. I don't talk like that. Black people don't have any problems. Challenges we have, you know, current circumstance that we're in, you know, the particular dilemma in this category or this, you know, situation, but we don't have any problems. And if we do have a problem, the only part of our problem, we're solving our problem. The variable is the issue. And anybody who does mathematics, the problem doesn't mean anything. It's understanding the variable. Solve for X. Solve for Y. What is the derivative of X over Y? What is when you integrate for X integrate for X or whatever have you? This is what we're trying to figure out. And the variable in our equation is white people. We know what our issues are. We know we need to get our families together. We're fixing our families. We're fixing our schools. We're fixing our language. We're fixing our credit. We do all of that. We still got to drive down the block and deal with a white cop. We can fix our own neighborhood. We still got to worry about white people saying that, oh, these people are trying to do this and potentially firebombing us, poisoning our water, poisoning our food. This is their history. Sending in and hiring black people to go in there and mess up our business. That's what they do. So we have to know that, and political theory teaches us to be aware of that. One class I had with my student that brought me to tears was showing them about not an Emmett Till, but relating Emmett Till to, I forget the brother's name, who was killed in Italy a couple years ago. And let me pull him up. Black man killed in Italy. My bad, I should have pulled this up. I'm freestyling, it's not a lot of us, but. Or was it? Might have been Greece. Yes, he was killed in Greece, right? So, black political theory. Clearly, this brother was never taught that white folks don't mess with black people, and you don't mess with white women, especially if you're gonna do it around white men. And so that's what happened. He danced with this white girl who was with this white guy, and the entire club got outside and beat him to death. 6 main dudes killed him on camera. Nobody's charged with murder. See, look, we're cleared of murder, but convicted of assault charges. He's dead on camera. The family is here begging for justice. And so what like the class would hurt was just like, you know, wasn't that hurt with the fact that, like I said, I was able to teach the kids that you don't do this. And I said, you know how it's since, and I showed them Emmett Till, and I said that it's been 60 years to 500 years since we've been able to get the ability to be able to sit down with our children and teach them, you don't go around these white folks like that. You be on point. And if something happens, you be mindful because they're not going to give us justice. So you don't get on camera crying to white folks about justice. That's just not going to happen. You go out there and get your justice. And so black political theory and thought is what I inspired. One of the goals of that is to inspire that. So that way we can actually understand how to deal with society, our place in society, and how to contribute to the society of black people worldwide. And that's what Marcus Garvey wanted. And that is the purpose of social studies. Black empowerment. Our policy aims at giving people a chance of acquiring more resources, right? The process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and the act of claiming one's rights. I always use as an example a child tying their shoe or going to the store. You know, when your child learns how to tie their shoe, they are now able to handle that responsibility. So anytime their shoes need to be tied, that's now their responsibility. And as a parent, you look forward to that because it hurts your back, always bending over, have to pick them up, tie their shoe. When they can go to the store, now they can handle the responsibility of going there and dealing with this and making sure that they're safe and paying attention. You know, this is like a rites of passage for children. You know, and just the concept of responsibility is tied and entangled entirely into empowerment. Because in order to claim one's rights, you have to be responsible for what you have a right of. It's your responsibility to defend your rights. It's your responsibility to understand your rights. And so to truly be empowered, one has to be responsible. In order to be responsible, you have to have knowledge. You have to know how to tie your shoe. So you can't hold someone accountable for having their shoelaces untied if they were never shown how to tie their shoe. It doesn't matter how old they are. And with our community, we have to understand that we want to articulate to the world that we are now empowered and we are responsible for ourselves. We tie our shoes. If we need help, we'll ask you. Don't offer and don't assume. Just ask us, simple as that. But the responsibility is on us. And when we teach our children, who's responsible for education? Should white people be responsible for educating Black people? It's just as simple as that. And this is carrying on Marcus Garvey's, empowerment levels where the responsibility is on us. Accountability is on us. It's our responsibility to hold white people accountable for the atrocities that they've done and continue to do to our people. I'm not going to go down, the history of Marcus Garvey. Like I said, UNIA started 1914. So while we're trying to, and I want you to see this, as much as we want to have the faith in the plans that he set forth and how much it contributed to who we are here now, we all must understand that there's no way his plan could have been able to compete with their plan because he had no knowledge of their plan. And as the opposite. But the difference is, as we all know, the same people who were making the plan to figure out how to hurt and control and control the population of our people were connected to the same people who are hiring people to infiltrate Marcus Garvey's movement. Marcus Garvey wasn't in the position to have anyone infiltrate them. You see the differences. We have to recognize that. And so this framework that I present here, the goal of it is to have an action plan for empowerment. It's a little wordy in there, but that's the BOST goal. And I explained to you what empowerment is. Straight like that. We want to fix our people up. Now, one thing I feel that the elders might not have been doing, and a lot of our stuff, this is our plan. This is the goals. This is the center. I want to when I redo this is going to be in a circle. Like I said, and like I have a view. Well, I'm in science, and in science we have a word homeostatic equilibrium. If anybody remembers that from living environment, and it's called a loop, a feedback loop. And so I don't want to look at it linearly. A feedback loop is if you eat too much gassy foods, your body will have to compensate for that and will belch. So it's an effector and a stimulus effector response. And so the education is the feedback loop for all of these. You won't practice good health if you're not educated. We can't expect the media and entertainment to promote Black empowerment if they're not educated. We can't expect the education community to be empowered if the business and financial community don't invest into it. The business and financial community only has so much power if the politics and legislation don't give them backing. So if we go into Jim Crow, politics and legislation kept the businesses from being able to reach the financial power, which stifled the education of our community because we didn't have the taxes ability to fund our own schools. And so because we didn't have the money to come in, we had to look to white people for safety. Then you hear Black people saying, oh, their ice is colder. Their ice is colder because of the policies and legislation they put forth in our community. The stifling of resources and technology. And so for me, that's why I'm this is this version. And again, what inspired me, I told you, I'm not going deep into what inspired this particular plan, but just know that this is a framework. And as I develop it more and I articulate it better each time, that's the goal of it. So these are the parts. Where are we at? Black people are not all over the freaking place in America. So I need us, to stop saying that. And we're just not all over the place. We're in a very small parts of the country. Like from one statistic, we're in about 10 states. 60% of Black people are in 10 states. So no offense to Wisconsin, North Dakota, but there's not much reason for me to ever go there. Whenever I go to Texas, I'm not going to Texas. I'm going to Fort Worth. I'm going to Houston. And I'm not just going to Houston, I'm going to Alief. You see what I mean? I'm not going to New York, I'm going to Harlem. I'm going to Brownsville. I'm not going to Atlanta, I'm going to Bankhead or the West End. You see what I mean? I'm not going to Florida. I'm going to, the Jacksonville, or I'm going to whatever parts of Miami where we are. Because if you just tell people, oh, Black people's in California, they know there's not. You got to know what part of Compton to go to. And in no part of California, except for maybe Oakland, do we have any real power. Spanish people run California. And that's from the street side. You ain't getting no help from the street side in California. The streets is ran by Spanish people. So I don't like California for that, because the strongest and most gangsterest dude I know will not cross them certain streets in Long Beach. They're not crossing them lines. They're like, nope, do not kill. The cartel is going to kill my whole family. They're going to kill everybody I know, and the police that come to my door. I'm not playing with them. Don't. I had gangsters tell me. So for me, no, that's not like New York. That ain't Detroit. Detroit's ours. We own Detroit. Chicago's ours, parts of Chicago. And so we need to know this. Georgia's ours. You see what I mean? The old strongholds for the KKK, like, Grandmaster Jay just exposed that. As much as people want to say that he might be a fraud or whatever, look, he exposed that Stone Mountain is pussy. However you want to word it, you know what I mean? That ain't the... that ain't the white people I grew up thinking that was on. You'd have never in a million days told me that you can let 100 Black people with guns walk through Stone Mountain Jail. I would have laughed. Hey, stop playing with me. Y'all trying to get killed. Y'all trying to get harmed. You see what I mean? We might do it in Texas. It might happen in Texas next. Shit, it happened in Texas, it's over for America. If it happened in Texas or Kentucky, it did in Kentucky. So all these little pieces we got to look at, like, this is petitions where we have this power, and the spots where white people did have power, they're no longer built like that because of their health, because of their education, because they let the liberal whites get in power. So this is what we're seeing. The parts where Blacks are in power at, the liberals took over. But we ain't fucking with the liberals. And that's why you see the mix-up of people trying to be down with MAGA, because they're looking at the conservative policies, back to policies and legislation. We don't care about Trump, but some of those policies in the legislation, they work. Look, I haven't heard nothing about Planned Parenthood. I can let a lot of stuff go. I haven't heard Planned Parenthood since Trump been in office. Abortion has been...
Facts.
I'll put him in office just because of that. And I don't vote, but I'll put him back in office just because Planned Parenthood, which is our biggest, you name an organization that's up there with Planned Parenthood. That, man, listen, they wiping out black people. They left and right. Come here, let me vacuum that baby out you. Oh, you want to get that baby killed? We go up to 33 weeks in New York. 36 weeks or some craziness. That is a full-blown child.
That's genocide.
Genocide. 36,000 a year in New York. That is the only thing affecting the black birth rate. The only thing affecting the black birth rate is Planned Parenthood. So when we think about who's our arch enemy right now, the hospitals are leading cause of death is also. So health, it comes from education. We stop eating those bad foods. You see how everything starts to back to the homeostatic, the equilibrium. These things equal out. We do this, that levels that. We do this, that levels that. Because of integration, they knew this. Oh, if these niggas take on our lifestyle and we let them fund their homes, now their women are gonna be off, their husbands will be off, and then we're gonna get these niggas city jobs. Glass ceiling effect. You only go in this house, but you love it.
It kills the family all the way.
Killing the family. And so when we articulate black family, that's how we get past the gay situation. Our responsibility is the maintenance and furtherance of our community. And we do that through the purposeful development of families. Through biological and normal means. That's it. If you like natural food, you might like natural sex. It's just that simple.
Yes, sir.
So this is public articulation. And I want us to be in our power. Again, being empowered is responsibility. We are responsible for our speech to the world. Nick Cannon is being held responsible for his speech. How dare you take a little bit of knowledge from our conscious community, bring it to the world, and then you're gonna fold? No, you're supposed to stand on your square. Damn right you ain't no Jew. I'm not anti-Semitic. We were the first, we are Semitic. We are the Semitic people. Y'all come from Israel, barely. By way of Germany and others. He was supposed to smoke their boots. He's supposed to spend $5,000 on a whole bunch of researches. I don't even mess with Brother Polite. He was supposed to go get Brother Polite. He was supposed to go get a whole bunch of unks. He was supposed to go with everybody. I'm hiring, he get Black Panther. He was supposed to get everybody from the conscious community. Oh, we about to smoke their boots, y'all. Red and Blue Pill, come up here, y'all. Look, look, do me a favor. I'm giving all y'all a couple dollars. Write this paper for me. We about to smoke their boots. That's what the white dude would have did.
He didn't believe in the scholarship.
He didn't believe in the scholarship. And so and I'm not mad at him, because he's seen generations of people who didn't believe in his scholarship do the same thing. Nick Cannon didn't grow up seeing a bunch of Black people empowered behind their word. He watched Jay-Z's who got the money now, and now they're doing for the Black community, but chill, don't talk about it because white people might shoot us. Do it in silence. Marcus Garvey, they not used to the Garvey stuff. I'm in your face, cracker. What's up? Black power in this bitch. What's the problem? What's the problem? And so this is, when we talk about our areas. So for me, this is some of the main cities. Don't, forgive New York, man. There's no reason New York is at the top. No, I'm in New York. Don't get it twisted. It could have been St. Louis at the top. There's no offense. You can take on the plane and carry it in St. Louis. And so this is a brief framework, all right? Education, Black daycare centers. So goal, primary goal, to use daycare centers to establish ideological principles early and stuff. We just need to locate 5 of them in each city. Just 5, even 3. 3 of them could be 30 Black children. That's 90 Black children a year being taught ideological Black principles. That's a lot of power right there. We're shooting for the stars, but we're making sure we hit what we got them on. We're looking at Black private schools, such as, like something similar to Zayek's Institute and things like that. These institutes need support, and we need to know where they are, who is running them, and how they can be helped, what resources we can share, how can we fund funding, how can we establish co-curriculums amongst each other. This should be already done, right? African-centered public schools. I know this sounds funny, but there are African-centered public schools. In DC, I visited one. New York City's creating, allowing principals and people to come up with these things. So they need support too, and we want to connect them together. We do know that our private, like Marcus Klein will tell you, we don't mix grapes and oranges, you know what I mean? Because, you know, public schools deal with white folks, and they have to understand we don't deal with white folks. And there's a line that has to be respected because white folks come with the bullshit. National STEAM program. The NESB, you know, no offense to NESB, but because NESB is not, I'm not even gonna say that. We need NESB, but we need a conscious black, pro-black NESB. One that got Garvey's flag on the thing. So when people are doing technology and developing STEM, they have black empowerment in the front of their eyes first. I'm inventing a super soaker for the black community. I'm not inventing a super soaker because I'm really smart and I got money and I hang around white people. I'm not inventing a phone because I've got paid by NASA a lot of money. No, I'm doing this for the black community. There's a big difference between the two. And 100 years of thievery that happened in our community largely was ushered in because white people knew that if we don't allow them to educate themselves, they can't organize their own cultural days, they won't have a sense of pride. So now when they invent things, they won't have a level of pride behind their inventions. They'll be easily swayed into selling it. There's no background. Like China ain't doing that. China's gonna laugh at you like, hell, this is for China. Yao Ming did that for China. Right? So, regional-based educational committees. Excuse me. Simple is basically what it is. We have these black organizations, these schools, or educational facilities. We need to communicate. Communication requires consistent, concise, effective exchanging of information. The institutes that are like ran by people like myself, we are extremely busy. We need someone who's not going to be, who's not as busy as us, who can step in and say, I'm gonna make sure that all the black schools on the East Coast are connected, even if it's just something you do once every 3 months, you know, once every other month. And you make sure that we're connected, see how we can share stuff, make sure we share a monthly calendar. So, you know, Marcus Klein Institute and our institutes are both celebrating Malcolm X Day on the same day. We're both going live together. You know, we both have these days off. We both do family days on the same day. So we can connect all the families together. The mission is empowerment and connecting the black family of the diaspora. Technology, black inventors. There are black inventors who need to be supported, who are creating things that are going to revolutionize the world. Simple as that. Organize, so to increase, we want to increase the playing field for black inventors, and we want to increase the support for black inventors and patent holders. Simple as that. Organize patent holders, find black attorneys who practice patent law, seek out individuals who are processing or in the process of submitting some patents, or in people who are in the process of creating the demo phase of their patents. New technology developers. There's a lot of us black folks who are helping to create or to further current inventions. When we advance the transmission, there should have been an attorney who was with the black man when he said, yo, I made that transmission better. Instead, he went straight to Ford. Ford gave him a check and was like, Pete Rocks. If he would have went to a black attorney, if he would have went to Don King would have, hold on. We need $75 million. This is going to revolutionize. Give me the American flag. You know what the transmission is going to do. Don King was in the wrong field. If he was in the field for black engineers, he would have been, he's over there raping, he would have been raping, he would have said, I just posted a thing saying, look, I guess I robbed Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, but I got them rich enough to be robbed. Imagine where they would have been if I would have never got them rich. There would have been nobody to rob. How the hell you argue with that? Straight in your face. And he said it on the turn like this. Yo, so what you think about robbing Muhammad Ali and him? What you mean? I feel good about it. I'm like, there was, like, we needed him with the black. Imagine if he was with the super soaker dude. Imagine. Come on now. Mike Tyson would have been walking out the thing with super soakers wet in the crowd. Like this. Bama Supers, come on. We gotta, this is our responsibility to know that these people are here. And we have to find us and put us in the right space. Imagine if Dame Dash would have been behind some of these patent holders. right? Strategic business aligned. We're going to business and financial. Now, this is for pro-Black people. Again, this is for not just nothing. I'm opening up the doors of Coons and everybody else in the sense of public speech. But I only fuck with conscious Black people. If you're not one of us, I don't want to be sitting there trying to explain to you why white people ain't smart. I'm not trying to do like in Brooklyn, we got a bunch of lesbian Black-owned businesses, Black women with white wives, and their Black Lives Matter all over the front door. Then you go there on a Saturday night and you see them with their white wife or their white husband, their little bleach baby. I'm not fucking with you. Excuse my language, y'all. It's Saturday night. I'm not messing with you. You know what I mean? And so this is for specifically pro-Black businesses. That one tire shop that had the RBG flag up for 30 years and he looks run down. No, we need to go just drop by. Yo, here's $10,000, y'all. Yo, look, we're going to give you $25 a month. There's 100 of us. For what? Because you're just dope, you're Black, and we want your children to carry this on. We know you've been struggling. We know white people. We know you wasn't been supported. We here now. We made it to 2020. We a little different now. Our swag a little different. Yeah, we bought you a new flag. Oh, you got here's some new cranks. Here's some new hydraulic pumps. Because they've been doing the mission. This isn't for these new jacks that just jumped on Facebook talking about selling face cream. I got cocoa butter. No, there's been a lot of Black people who've been in the mission, who've been, with no offense, real businesses, who've been out there on the front line of racism, Black plumbers fighting to get contracts, the Black Coalition in Brooklyn, who went to war with the Italians, war with the Germans, war with the Irish to get contracts to do labor. They would sit outside and fight with them. And then you would have the bougie Black community calling them thugs. Not seeing that if we don't fight this, we're not getting in. So we need to strategically know who the hell is pro-Black. Are you an attorney? Are you pro-Black at 11 a.m. when you're in the courthouse? Or do you turn into somebody else? Does your code switch require you to put down the RBG flag? Because we don't do that in 2020. Code switching is dead. I don't even like to be around people who code switch. It makes me nervous because how can you do it? It's like psychology. It's like crazy to me. And people try to put it in the cloak of business. When you got white people with tattoos all over their face, blatant racists, and who make millions of dollars in their business. Blatant racist. Gucci is a blatant racist and people still support it. So you telling me I can't be blatantly pro-Black? Kiss my blatantly racist, Black, pro-Black, RBG flag wearing ass. Come by this shirt. Kick rocks. So we need to be in our square and support those that's in there. And when I say support, offer financial literacy, share them on Facebook, pledge money to them a month. Just add, yo, you got a Cash App? I'm just gonna send you $10 every month, $20. And you may not think it does something, but for a small business owner, believe you me, that might be the difference between buying. Look, I had to go into my profits to buy toilet paper, and that messed up me paying my phone bill. I don't know how some of y'all think, but regular small businesses, they Peter to Tom to Mike to Matthew, and they over time, their work ethic allows them to increase exponentially faster than someone who works a job. And that's why you see the difference in when Black people come in from other countries, because a lot of be like, oh, they look like they're doing better off in life faster. It's because they're working as a business. And so I bring that up to say, we also want to promote this because the lifestyle of an entrepreneur is what's needed to maintain the lifestyle of our community. I'm going to speed up because I see time is getting a little fast. Homeowner and Real Estate Alliance. We need to support pro-Black people with pro-Black houses. Simple as that. Look, if you're a coon and you got a property and you're about to lose it, I'm not really worried about you. But if you some elder sister and you've been pro-Black for all these years, helping the community out, donating, supporting, bailing people out, doing what you do for the community, and you're about to lose your house, it's our responsibility to come save you. Black Farmers Alliance. Simple as it says. There are Black farmers and there's war against Black farmers. If we don't support our Black farmers, that is the end of our supply of food. Strategic Black bank support. There was 19 Black banks when I got on the scene with financial literacy about 4 or 5 years ago. I believe it's 16 or 15 now. And they keep getting smaller. The black banks are filled with black people who do not understand the homeostatic equilibrium of the black community. Your black bank cannot get black money if black businesses don't make black money. Black people won't make black businesses if they're not educated on to be entrepreneurs. It's not in the interest of the public school system to create entrepreneurs, especially in the black community. It's the responsibility of the black community to teach the black children to be entrepreneurs so that way the black community can be profitable. Simple as that. The black banks are missing that understanding. So as much as we want to put our money in it, if the black banks don't understand they have to gamble and invest into black education, they're going to be stifled. And that's just the reality of the situation. Black political legislative, political initiatives. We need to increase the political education of black people around the country. Simple as that. Whether it be just through marketing initiatives, media initiatives, rallies, we need to increase the political education of black people. Every black person in the conscious community should know what type of government we live in. This is a federal republic. What type of democracy we practice? We practice indirect democracy in America. They should know, and it's going down this line of thought. What are the three branches of government? How is it organized? When are the days of voting? These are basic things that they should know. Then you should know the other types of governmental systems. This is basic education, political education, that is not part of the political theory. This is civics and government. This is taught in social studies. Local and council representatives. There are pro-black people who are in the local council who need support. We just need to know who they are, and they need to know who we are, and we need to be able to hold them accountable and figure out what they can do to support us and make sure that they're doing their work in their office. They're not getting by. Strategic bill support. I'm not for voting, but when it comes to legislation, there are things that we need to support that do affect our community. We just don't know what the hell it is, and we find out late. And we find out from popular people versus a committee or a group of people who are just looking for bills around the country. Not localized, where we're just looking for things because the way it works, one courthouse takes it, another courthouse may respect it. So this is how we want to get our wins up. So, but we don't know where to go. So although they might be pushing a law in the back of South Dakota that says you can't teach gay literature in schools. The gay rights movement is so strong, they're going to suppress any marketing of something like that. So we'll never know if someone has pushed a bill like that. Neither will a judge in another county. The only way a judge in another county will know is if a lawyer presents that case law in the courtroom. And that's how the case law gets regurgitated around enough where it becomes commonality. And so we just have to get used to doing that. So we need to know where these are, because believe it or not, white Christians are passing laws like that. They're passing laws that say white only. They just did that in the private community. They privatized the community in California and made it white only. This is right now. And they're using the privatization laws, where it's not just white only. In order to be a member, and that's the game they're playing. Anybody has right to buy the property, but in order to be a member in this area, you have to be white. And so in the laws of this community, we can vote you out even if you bought the property. And you'll be removed and you have to leave. And so we have the same ability, we just have to know the laws. And this goes worldwide. It might be a win in the Caribbean that we can go after. It might be a simple thing like, look, y'all, if we all support this thing and all of us black people in the Pan-African movement support this legislation in Guyana, the black people in Guyana will be able to do this. And that's going to empower black people in Guyana for the next 100 years. All it needs is a little bit more voice. You know, this is us being politically aware. Tobacco and alcohol. This is a huge issue in our community, and the companies who sell these products are allowed to run through with impunity. We all watch Compton. People promote drinking 40s in every comedy, every rap video we've ever seen. The reality is that they're allowed to buy a 40 ounce and a Hennessy next to a pizza on top of bubble gum next to Doritos, and you could buy a t-shirt in the same store. That is crazy. And simple legislation will get that run. We don't need nobody in president to get that to stop. All we need is one simple bill to be passed in that county, and it's over for that. We can get it pushed to legislation, 1,000 people behind it. And if you know Compton, Detroit, there's no projects in a lot of these areas. They're all homeowners. They're just not politically educated, so they don't understand their power. That is your land. You're allowing this Chinese person who owns no property in this area, he just rents this store to regulate your entire place with his $35,000 in taxes, when your collective taxes funds the people who vote on the person who's getting that money. But the power, you won't understand that. And you'll think that you're not empowered. And so because you're not empowered, you're not able to take responsibility or hold people accountable in these areas. So when you go to Tennessee, same issue in Tennessee. When you go to Nashville, same issue. When you go to Memphis, same issue. You go to Baltimore, same issue. And with the effects of drug and alcohol in our community on the health is no joke. When you have a school having advertisement right across from it, showing a half-naked woman holding a Hennessy bottle 24 hours a day, right across the street from your daycare center. That's not legal in New York no more. That's crazy to me. You can't even sell beer, and you have to put it in the back of the store, in the bottom of the shelf in New York. There's no advertising of anything, no fruity tobacco products at all. No sweet tobaccos, nothing, because they're targeting our community. And this is simple things that we can do. Pro-choice is a huge thing in our community. And I know I'm running out of time. What time do I go to? 8:45, 9:45 or 9:15? Anybody know?
You have about 18 to 17 minutes left.
All right, I'm gonna try to go a little fast. I'm gonna talk like I'm in Harlem, y'all. So pro-choice. So pro-choice is what? Pro-choice is the ability to choose where the money is allocated for your child's education in your county. Certain cities and most counties, like about 35 of them, allow the parents in failing districts or in some districts to determine where the money is allocated for their children in that district. For Black people, we don't know what pro-choice is, so we don't know that most children have a budget from anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 for them each year in their district, and they can put that money where they want. Drug arrest removal, huge thing. Now that they're all going after all these different things and they want to be all nice to white people over all these drug arrests and doing all these programs, we want that same courtesy to our people. Remove these things. So this is just basic legislation that we can be promoting right now in our community. Counter gentrification policies. We need to be on the bandwagon for anybody who's promoting any counter gentrification policies, and our community needs to be promoting that inside the Pan-African community. All right, child entertainment, media producer alignment, strategic influence alignment. That's all part of media. So basically we want to get the media people to work together, produce things that are in our interest, and use the media platforms that we have available to connect with each other, so as the ability to take advantage of the ability of connecting and promoting the information we want for our community. Environmental, I'm big on environment. One, the waste and garbage in our community is all over the place, and it's untimely picked up, and it brings down the value of our community. It brings in more rodents, and it brings in more types of bacterial infections that is not needed in our place. Community watch. One big thing that I'm promoting, especially in the conscious Black community, is our own closed circuit network of cameras, where if we don't want the police to get involved, we need to know who to go beat up first. So we can't hold anybody accountable. If we know the park has shootings all the time, we can go put our own damn cameras up, and we can watch who's doing the shooting, go run down on them, beat the shit out of them, fight, whatever got to get done, we can go do it ourselves before the police get involved.
Truth.
So we can have our own closed circuit community watch. And you know, these are just ideas. Public advertising, this is an environmental issue. They should not be allowed to advertise whatever they want in our community, and whoever's allowing people to advertise in our community, the profits from the advertising need to also have a allocation towards our community. And I was also meant to put Raleigh's to go towards this, because like in Brooklyn, the biggest advertisement, the most detrimental ones, Puffy can talk all that stuff about Black Power. Puffy ran a Hennessy ad in Brownsville that was about 50 to 75 feet in dimension for about 10 years straight. Not Hennessy, to rock. Half-naked woman every other week drinking Ciroc. So don't tell me about how you want to care about what white people doing. Let's be responsible. And then let's use some of that $1 billion you got to make a plan like this work. Promote self-defense. We need to know how to defend ourselves at all times against white people, against anybody, against the ignorant people in our community, so on and so forth. Safety, firearm training. We need a nationwide firearm training initiative. We just got to be cool with it. Knowing how to use a gun. Simple as that. Strategic Black Health Initiative. Now we're into health. We got to step up to health. That's as simple as that. I'm an atheist and I'm promoting Black Spiritual Initiative. Understand what I just said? I'm an atheist, y'all. That's just to show you I'm being fair. And let me remove this Tashi shit. I'm sorry. That's not supposed to be there. That was a suggestion by somebody, but I meant to delete that when they made the suggestion. I don't know about that. I'm letting the yoga go. It's supposed to be comedic yoga. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna try to mix up none of that. People be trying to mix up that Eastern European or Eastern Asian shit. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? We got our plenty own stuff. But whatever stuff that we should need to have, that we feel is therapeutic for us to empower ourselves and heal us from whatever's going on, I'm showing you that as an atheist, I'm open to it. Even if I feel like it might be pseudo or esoteric, I'm still open to it. So that's just an example that everybody should be open to whatever it is, if it's coming from a place of in hope to empower us. Marital service. Now this goes into family planning. Big issue. Marital services. Whoever's Black that's marrying people, we need to be going to them. And we need services to help Black people be empowered with their marriages, go through domestic violence, organize their families, blah, blah, blah. Parental assistance, similar to marital services, but we need to be focused on making sure that parents are taken care of. They got access to resources, they got access to education, access to transportation, food, so on and so forth. Prenatal care. Parents with new babies, they need to be on point. We need to make sure that we know, especially nothing against everybody else, but our Black conscious community, I'm very keen on. I'm like taking specific notes on it. We need to know all of the Black conscious babies. We can't save everybody, but the Black people in the conscious community who are making babies, let's start there. Let's make sure that this next generation of Black babies coming out of this community is well taken care of. You know, and so simple plans, simple goals. Domestic violence support. Not to support the domestic violence, but to support those suffering. Men and women. I'm saying it like that because we all know women get to go through domestic violence, but so do our brothers. And the children more than anybody. And so we need to support them and find ways of helping them, providing services to them, because we don't want our sisters having to go to white folks for help if they're going through a situation. And we don't want the children being taken away because of domestic violence in the home. Death services, simple as that.
Kinda.
COVID exposed COVID exposed the need for death services like none other in major cities where Black bodies were just piled up and people couldn't afford the death services. The city wasn't paying for it. And even cremation, they started hyping up the prices of cremation to then triple the price. And so there's a lot of Black people, if you don't know, who's buried in this island I think it's either on Rikers Island or next to Rikers Island, where if you can't afford a grave, that's where the city's public graves are. It's really messed up. Many of the COVID bodies are there. And that's because of the hyped up prices during the COVID. Emergency disaster preparedness. One of the big things that I'm gonna have with, my core RBG people, my core people. You see what I got highlighted? $100 for $50 a month, and we can have a storage unit, and we got mad guns in there, ammunition, canned food, seeds, and we know, look, right on the I-95, 10 miles off the I-95, for every 500 miles, we got a storage unit with guns, bullet, and food in it. And we got that in the Midwest, East Coast, and the West Coast. And again, this is a 3 to 5 year plan. This is my goal within 3 to 5 years. So when I get to 41, I will be able to say, this is where we are in the plan. I can say where we are now in it, but I want to be in all of these parts where we actually have our hands in each and every piece of this. So in 5 years, we can effectively say, this is what we're doing in each one of these. Foster care. There's too many of our Black children in foster care, and there's many pro-Black families who are handling foster care and they're not being supported. And with that, I believe that's pretty much my presentation for Black empowerment.
Appreciate that, son.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Appreciate you. Any questions?
Yeah. Do you have a printout of the plan to promote the brand of the plan or whatever? That's something that really needs to be established because that's pretty thorough. So yeah, how we pass that around, how we get started.
I don't have it. I just have it as literally it just became this PowerPoint about a week ago. It was a regular Word document. You're more. I can share it with you, and we can work on it together. If there's certain category that may cater to you more, that you like, yo, Q, I'm into technology. I want to be the head of the technology component. That's what I'm kind of looking for now. People that can take on one component. Like I'm in education. Health is I'm like trying to get Brother Dom with somebody that's like, look, you become the head of this. When we talk about this plan, we can say like these different people represent these parts of it, and we're seriously onto it.
Yeah.
Like somebody that's Attorney Awesome or whoever's really into legal aspects or into firearms, like and we don't have to step on each other's toes. We can regionalize it. Where look, you got the East Coast, or you got the Northeast, you got the Southeast. It's really just about coordinating and collaborating and making sure that we're effectively communicating and exchanging information and ideas at all times.
That's some enrichment that needs to be established. So for sure, respect, man.
Type your give me put your contact in the chat to me. I got you. I'll send it to you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
No problem.
Let me turn my thing on. Maybe you can see my big head. Yeah, you was just talking about establishing every 500 miles some type of station with all of the necessities that will be required to maintain a group of people. So I'm wondering what your thoughts about, replicating that, because I'm, for example, just coming into this network, so I don't really know anybody personally except Sister Keisha, but I have my own network where I'm at. I'm in Cleveland, and people I've been rocking with, my day ones or whatever the case may be, that's like-minded, and we would like to implement some of the ideas that you presented, or maybe I would want to present it to them. So I guess my question is, since there's fragments of us, brothers and sisters, perhaps throughout the country that may not directly be connected, how can we either connect, or, do we have to put some kind of filtration system in place in terms of even sharing a plan such as this? And, or are you willing to, share the plan with somebody that's outside your network? Because it gets real critical when certain locations have to be private, et cetera, if you understand my question.
Yeah, for me, work ethic is the backbone of any plan. So I have no problem with sharing the plan. If you have to do the work. So that's the gift and the curse in the Black community. Most of us, unfortunately, we're not at that space where all of us want to do the work. So if you take the plan and run with the plan and do it for yourself, it doesn't matter to me, as long as our community gets empowered. So with that being said, you can either send me an email, I'll share you, or you can post your email. I'll post let me post my email in the chat to everyone. That way it'd be easier, so everyone can just email me.
Bro, if your structure is effective, it's effective. You know what I mean? So in an aspect of anyone stealing it, they can't steal anything. You know what I mean? It's more along the line of to where you had to put your spirit behind something like that. So that's the print. You know what I mean?
Like whatever. So I'm open, sister. Yeah, and I also realize that many of us are just now taking advantage of the connections that we have, and COVID is a true blessing like that. Like, look what we're doing. This would have never happened. Like, who knows how this would have happened with COVID? We did our own celebrations. We'd have all watched each other celebrate in our own towns for Marcus Garvey. But now we're connecting the main people, not the ones who show up because they got a day off and they see everybody in the park playing drums and got their clothes. No, we're really family. If you're in this circle, you've already been semi-vetted. You know what I mean? There's not too many. You're not going to get past Bomani. You know what I mean? Like, if you got past Sister Keisha, you're like family to me already. Like, you can come by and get some food. If Sister Keisha for co-sign you want to come by and get some food? Like, you can come out. You in Brooklyn, you in Cleveland. Like, I got people in Cleveland. Like, we family already. So that ain't about friends, sister. Like, that's the way we have to do it. So that way, and that's credit. Sister Keisha's credit with me is A1. So it's nothing for me to. That's a co-sign. So share the plan with you, I would hope that you maybe say like, yo, Brother Q, I want to take on this part of the plan. Let me be the head of this part, because again, I have the Institute. The Institute is really blowing up right now, and we're about to have almost 20 to 50 students. And it's not to say overwhelming, but it's exciting, but it is overwhelming. Like, it's a huge responsibility. And so for me, this plan won't work unless we have people like yourself, people like the other brother who just spoke, who's like, yo, I want to take this part on. And it won't work for you unless you have other people that want to work with you. And so it's a scaffold plan. It takes another person to make the other person work. It needs network marketing. If we don't connect together, we need technology. You know what I mean? All of these pieces go together. Because another thing with morale, sometimes we get localized and we don't have enough people in our local community to keep the morale up. You know, and so coming on the internet and meeting and talking to y'all, you know, is just like a boost for me. Like, yo, you know, even if it's just 5 of us, I know the 5 of us are really connected and we're really about this. You know, I see that we got the 2-minute symbol. I see the Sandman is on the side waving at me, telling me I got to get off the stage. I put my email in the chat. Please connect with me, Q Butter. I'm super cool. I believe I am. So.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sister. What's your name?
Angela, Sister Angela.
Peace, Sister Angela. And brother, what's your other brother? What's your name?
Rogish.
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 Rogish. Dope. All right, peace. So yeah, I'm expecting an email from y'all so we can connect, y'all.
Respect, fam.
Definitely respect. Peace, man. But appreciate the time.
Doc shotgun. Buck front. Yeah. Shot. Intro to O. And my dude, that Timbuktu to Ave. For renew your passion, shun the condition, and not the who, what, when, where, and you are from. At last, put the higher